What if you forget the turkey? However tender and moist, the golden skin, supremely crisp, the stuffing and the gravy, however savory. Forget the mashed potatoes, the pumpkin pie, and all the wine. What if you simply remember why you gather around a table of kindred others to begin with? This day, or any day. Contemplate what fineness, fullness of heart you can bring to each table, each other, before you even arrive to sit there. What good stories and nourishing reveries, poetries you can spread out on, sing out to the table. How greatly it matters. Every day you're here, every time you take time, make room to feast on your life, to toast your one and onlyness, and the lives and specialness of the others dear and near or far, who make it all the more joyful, flavorful, worthwhile, while you're here on earth. Then, on with savoring the rest and grateful tastes of it all. Welcome to the latest floating poetry broadcast, and thank you for leaning in and gathering round this listening table together for show 185, coming to you live from the bountiful coast of Rhode Island. This is your poet and guiding spirit in the poetosphere, Colin Goedecke, a voice here and elsewhere for living our days more fully, more lively, more poetically. Last week's broadcast was on forgetting. If you were listening, you know, and if you were not, and it was on forgetting, from things forgotten, sometimes best forgotten, to things best even vitally remembered, to those unforgettable in mind, heart, or spirit, life events, experiences, ideas, and exchanges with others. Ones we consciously or unconsciously or serendipitously forget or recall. Also the upsides and downsides to forgetting ourselves. Up where we go to a place of free-form openness, down when we go into any kind of unserving heedlessness. This week on the eve of Thanksgiving, here in America tomorrow, feast on your life. A poetic toast to feasting of all kinds, from feasting on good food and company around tables and holidays, to feasting on friendship and love, to feasting on nature, beauty, the body, our memorable moments, and on abundance of any and all forms, literal to figurative, arriving in our lives, in your life, in your days, in your day-to-day, and doing that with consciousness, with real thankfulness, and ideally with ever deeper gratefulness. So, I've shaped a filling and I hope fulfilling show, a broadcast, a movable, shareable feast of spoken words to pair with this year's soon unfolding day of Thanksgiving. And I felt perhaps an ideal place for us to begin to come into the next round of things together here is with Derek Walcott's powerful poem. Always powerful. Every time I've read it, which is often, or shared it, very affecting. So let's see. Derek Walcott. Love after love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself, arriving at your own door in your own mirror. And each will smile at the other's welcome, saying, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, Give back your heart to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life. Thank you, Derek Walcott, always for that. Isn't it marvelous how, well, not just poets, but poets in this case can leave things like this for us and make things that can last, well, forever, certainly for our whole lives and beyond. This was a poem of mine from here in Westerly, Rhode Island, May of 2023, this spring. A movable feast. Like the kind Hemingway wrote about in his memoir. Movable, memorable, edible. The time, people, feelings, and tastes relished round the table of it all. Like the feasts of the best years of your life. The ones you live with joy and gusto. Feasting on language, your own native tongue or some other, and on juicy or meaty conversations that you get to have, and on the joys of words themselves. Well, here's Barbara Hamby's poem, Hamby, Ode on Dictionaries. A-bomb is how it begins, with a big bang on page 1. A calculator of sorts whose centrifuge begets Bedouin, bamboozle, breakdance, and berserk. One of my mother's favorite words. Hard-knock clerk of cliches that she is, at the moment going ape. The current rave in the fundamentalist landscape disguised as her brain, a rococo lexicon of Deuteronomy, Job, gossip, spritz, and neocon ephemera, all wrapped up in a pop burrito of movie star shenanigans, like a stray Cheeto found in your pocket the day after you've finished the bag. Tastier than any oyster and champagne-fueled fugue gastronomique you have been pursuing in France for the past 4 months. This 82-year-old rants have taken their place with the dictionary I bought in the 4th grade, with so many gorgeous words I thought I'd never plumb its depths. Right the first time, little girl, yet here I am still at it, trolling for pearls. Japanese words vying with Bantu in a goulash I eat daily, sometimes gagging, sometimes with relish. Kleptomaniac in the candy store of language, slipping words in my pockets like a non-smudged lipstick that smears with the first kiss. I'm the demented lady with 16 cats. Sure, the house stinks, but those damned mice have skedaddled, though I kind of miss them, their cute little faces, the whiskers, those adorable gray suits. No, all beasts are welcome in my menagerie, ark of inconsolable barks and meows, sharp-toothed shark, OED of the deep ocean, sweet compendium of candy bars, Butterfingers, mounds, and M&Ms, packed next to the tripe and gizzards, trim and tackle of butchers and bakers, the painter's brush and spackle, quarks and black holes of physicists' theory. I'm building my own book, as a mason makes a wall or a gelding runs round the track, brick by brick, step by step, word by word. Jonquil by gerrymander, syllabub by greensward. Swordplay by Snapdragon, a never-ending parade with clowns and funambulists in my own mouth, homemade treasure chest of tongue and teeth, the brain's roustabout, rough unfurler of tents and trapezes, off-the-cuff, unruly troublemaker in the High Church Museum of the World. Oh, mouth, boondoggle, auditorium, viper, gulag, gumbo pot on a steamy August afternoon, what have you not given me? How I must wear on you my Samuel Johnson in a frock coat, lexicographer of silly thoughts, billy goat, X-rated pornographic smut factory, scarfer of snacks, prissy smirker, late-night barfly. You are the megaphone by which I bewitch the world, or don't, as the case may be. Oh, chittering squirrel, Ziploc sandwich bags, sound up, shut up, gather your words into bouquets, folios, flocks of black and flaming birds. Wow. Barbara Hamby, thank you. It was new to me, her and it. It's from her collection, All Night Lingo Tango. I have to look that one up. I just came across the one piece, the Lingo Tango. My goodness, can you imagine what's in there? Okay, feasting on, how about the feasting on the loving, caring makers of our small and large feasts? Like my once upon a time mother-in-law, actually I called her my mother-in-love, as she was. She called me her son-in-law. Beautiful. Mouthfuls of meteorites for Quirina. Meteorites made by heavenly old hands, of breadcrumbs and turkey, milk and onions, that streak with spice and bright sauce onto our plates and into our mouths round the big table at the big house on 103rd. Hats off to her. She's in the ether now. She's in the cosmos. That was back in 2004 I wrote that. She lived on till almost 100. Ode to the Table, Pablo Neruda. I work out my odes on a four-legged table, laying before me bread and wine and roast meat, that black boat of our dreams. Sometimes I set out scissors, cups and nails, hammers and carnations. Tables are trustworthy, titanic quadrupeds. They sustain our hopes and our daily life. The rich man's table, scrolled and shining, is a fabulous ship bearing bunches of fruit. Gluttony's table is a wonder, piled high with Gothic lobsters. And there is also a lonesome table in our aunt's dining room in summer. They've closed the curtains, and a single ray of summer light strikes like a sword upon this table sitting in the dark, and greets the plum's transparent peace. Then there is a faraway table, a humble table, where they're weaving a wreath for a dead miner. That table gives off the chilling odor of a man's wasted pain. There's a table in a shadowy room nearby that love sets ablaze with its flames. A woman's glove was left behind there, trembling like a husk of fire. The world is a table, engulfed in honey and smoke, smothered by apples and blood. The table is already set, and we know the truth as soon as we are called. Whether we're called to war or to dinner, we will have to choose sides, have to know how we'll dress to sit at the long table, whether we'll wear the pants of hate or the shirt of love, freshly laundered. It's time to decide. They're calling. Boys and girls, let's eat. Thank you. Pablo Neruda, Ode to the Table. Well, before we go farther, here are some questions I have for you about feasting to ponder, to hold inside as you like, maybe muse on beyond today, I hope. The most memorable feast you ever had. Where were you? Who was there? Why was it so memorable? And what do you remember about it especially vividly? What for you and your experience makes any feast beautiful, transporting? It's the secret ingredient. What are you feasting on in your life right now? What parts of yourself are you celebrating? What friendships? What life accomplishments? Where else could you be giving thanks in your days? For who you are, or what you have, or that you get to be here at all, to be alive? Are there other kinds of abundance beyond financial that so many are fixated on, but beyond that, that you're favored with? Maybe a bounty of love, or beauty, or meaningful conversations, or inspirations. What would it be like if the whole world came together tomorrow to feast on peace? When do you take time to toast and feast on your possibilities, all your possible unfoldings? Some things worth asking yourself, I thought, and pondering here and beyond, as I will, beyond Thanksgiving time. Let's feast at and on our culture's holidays, whatever those are. In this case, a Thanksgiving for me, included here in this one by Tim Nolan. Thanksgiving. Thanks for the Italian chestnuts with their tough shells, the smooth, chocolatey skin of them. Thanks for the boiling water, itself a miracle and a mystery. Thanks for the seasoned saucepan and the old wooden spoon and all the neglected instruments in the drawer. The garlic crusher, the bent paring knife, the apple slicer that creates 6 perfect wedges out of the crisp Harrelson. Thanks for the humming radio. Thanks for the program on the radio about the guy who was a cross-dresser, but his wife forgave him, and he ended up almost dying from leukemia. And you could tell his wife loved him entirely. It was in her deliberate voice. Thanks for the brined turkey, the size of a big baby. Thanks for the departed head of the turkey, the present neck, the giblets, whatever they are, wrapped up as small gifts inside the cavern of the ribs. Thanks, thanks, thanks for the candles lit on the table, the dried twigs, the autumn leaves in the blue Chinese vase. Thanks for the faces, our faces, in this low light. Thank you, Tim Nolan. Thanksgiving. Marjorie Sacer, S-A-I-S-E-R. Thanksgiving for 2. The adults we call our children will not be arriving with their children in tow for Thanksgiving. We must make our feast ourselves. Slice our half ham, indulge, fill our plates, potatoes and green beans carried to our table near the window. We are the feast. Plenty of years, arguments. I'm thinking the whole bundle of it rolls out like a white tablecloth. We wanted to be good company for one another. Little did we know that first picnic, how this would go. Your hair was thick, mine long and easy. We climbed a bluff to look over a storybook plain. We chose our spot as high as we could to see the river and the checkered board fields. What we didn't see was this day, in our pajamas if we want to, wrinkled hands strong, wine and juice glasses, toasting whatever's next. The decades of side by side, our great good luck. Lovely. Thank you, Marjorie Sacer. Thank you. Let us feast on nature, shall we? Always, and all its generous gifts. This was a poem from up here in Rhode Island on the coast on the summer solstice, first day of summer this year, dishing up summer. It arrives on a warm white cloud. It arrives on soft rolls of ocean waves along a sand-pebbled shore. It arrives on a bed of blooming dune roses. It comes to your senses. It comes to your plate. It comes to your pitcher of memories, reveries. It whets the appetite of children and fishermen, beach-goers and beach-combers, sunbathers and swimmers, sailors, gardeners, barbecuers, and straw-hatted farmers. It comes one day, just like that, and keeps coming. To the table of your days, your nights, sunrise to sunset, even when you're sleeping, dreaming, sometimes spiced with the salt air of the sea or the resin of a coastal or mountain forest, sometimes soaked in the delicious heat of a sultry sun or the succulent coolness of a heat-breaking rain, sometimes lit by flashes of lightning or lightning bugs. Every part of it a feast, of servings for savoring, beginning today, with the first and longest light and taste of all the welcome light and tastes of the summer days yet to come. Yes. Well, a good book to tell you about, The Home Place, Memoirs of a Colored Man's Love Affair with Nature. This is by a poetic ornithologist, which he definitely is, and wildlife ecologist J. Drew Lanham, Lanham, here on the enchantment of autumn, his enchantment. Fall is the time when nature speaks most clearly to me. In autumn, one is treated to an orgy of sights, sounds, and smells that can be wonderfully overwhelming. The stifling late summer heat is mercifully cleared by cooler air overnight. Breathing is suddenly easier, and the soaking sweat evaporates. You want to inhale deeply enough to take in every molecule wafting on the wind. The tired sameness of September's deep green fades, then flames into October's vermilion sumacs and scarlet maples, lemon yellow poplars, and golden hickories. In those days of crispness, I want to linger long enough to hear every sound and look far enough to see into forever. Wonderful. Well, that itself was enchanting. Thank you, J. Drew Lanham. Maybe you've been greatly relishing, savoring autumn somewhere, whether here in the Northeast or elsewhere, like Mr. Lanham. Well, I know I have, and I still am. Still here. And all those colors, many still here. Yes, how about letting us ourselves feast, really feast when we do on welcome food and company and surroundings. This is the picnic. We spread ourselves out into sunset, open a large white sheet on the sand by the sea-sprayed shore, a canvas to create a feast on, of finished gin and grapefruit juice, hummus and seagull-stolen crackers, roast duck legs, prunes and chickpeas, olive-oiled leaves of sorrel and verbena, slices of cucumber, ripe strawberries with cracked black pepper, dipped in raw cream, and red wine we drink and spill with laughter into christened shapes, the breeze-filled sheet a sail for us to sail away on, over the beach, the jetty, and headlamped fishermen, toward the dipped-away sun, the painted sky, and right floating rind of melon-sliced moon, under a blanket of wool and cool summer stars. The picnic of an entirely different place, different country altogether. This was on the River Vecht in East Holland, the Netherlands, 1998. Die Koeienpicknick, the cow's picnic. Spread out in the shade on the dike above the water, ringed by cows, a déjeuner sur l'herbe, of rosé and laughter, tomatoes and clouds, pâté lathered on bread, stories spooned on tongues, hard-boiled eggs eaten with salt and sunshine, a basket of fruits and friendships shared, bodies bared and bathed in the Vecht, borne by the same current that carries our blue boat back home. Always a touchstone back to that very moment and that lovely picnic and the people and the taste and the day. This was on the Great South Bay across from Fire Island, August 2014. Sunset ripples. Sunset ripples out from the horizon, where a cloud curtain has just gone up. It ripples at a soft right angle across the salted water, encircles our wrists, our waiting ankles like beaten gold bracelets, as we zenly reach down together through the low, low tide for clams laying cool and quiet in the Great South Bay. The soon unshelled center of a serendipitous Saturday feast of good men, women, wine, and willing mollusks. Yes. Joseph O. Legaspi, Legaspi, feasting, has 3 words at the opening, Bitaug Siquijor, in Philippines, so it must be the place. A new poem and poet here for me. Feasting. 3 women dragged the spiky, bulky mass onto a bamboo table on the side of an island road. A raised hunting knife glinted in sunlight, then plunged with a breathless gasp, slicing into the unseen. To a passerby, they were a curious wall, a swarm of onlookers, barrio children and younger women, buzzing with a rising, gleeful cadence as a mother busied herself with the butchering. Surprisingly, a citrusy, sugary scent sweetened the stranger's face when offered the yellow flesh like thickened petals, licorice to the touch. He stood awed at the monstrous jackfruit, bloodless armadillo, halved, quartered, sectioned off for feasting. His tongue tingled ripely. "This country's foreign to me," he continued, "but I'm not foreign to it." Thank you, Joseph Legaspi. Let's feast, shall we, on everything we love, dear listeners. This was Morristown, New Jersey, 2017. Things that rhyme. Salt air and summer. Warm bread and butter. Rosé and laughter. Innocence and radiance. Journey and memory. Poetry and alchemy. Nature and rapture. breathing and birthing, living and loving, body and soul. Let's feast on our friendships. Here's an honoring true friends, dear friends, rare friends, of our past, of this present, especially brothers and sisters of the soul. All gratefulness for their sacred reciprocity, for seeing us, our essence, and allowing us to see them and theirs, for letting us be ourselves freely, entirely, abundantly, for being faithful witnesses, champions, encouragers on our journey, its highs and lows, its wise steps, encounters, stumbles, for adding to our aliveness, largeness, wholefulness, for holding a space for our becoming, for loving us without conditions, without exceptions, without judgment, for simply joyfully anticipating sharing any time and space, life, our lives, allow, and whether communing or quietly idling, carrying on, adventuring along, afresh each time, however short or long the gaps between our meetings or conversing's, and feeling the other's molecules even when away from our confrere's company, for affirming the light and innocence of our spirits in word and gesture, for appreciating the rareness of our kindredness, savoring its sweetness, for letting the rivers of our hearts, our minds, our deep caring come together, flow together, to make a channel of beautiful and true friendship possible. All our thanks. Well, a couple people in particular that exemplify me giving thanks for them and other friends, but here's a few. And you may have your own forms of someone coming into your mind right now that you'd like to express thanks for. This was from my dear friend and mentor of 40 years, Dick Rusak. He's out in Texas right now. This was on his birthday in 2023. Bearing fruit is what, like a bountiful tree in a well-loved orchard, you have been doing across your long and ever-ripening life, turning the earth, sun, water, and air of each year into an abundance of flowers, seeds, and luscious fruits for you and us to feast on. Yes, that's the kind of man that he is and has been all along. Love out to him, Dick Rusak. For a soul sister out in San Francisco, Rachel Menard, this was on her 48th birthday in 2017. When we slice the cake of your life, a day, a decade, this year, we find generous layers of loveliness, adventurousness, industriousness. We taste a delicious way of being, a filling of jammy joie de vivre. We give thanks for getting to share in all the present and preceding courses, all the next great feasts and most just desserts of you still to come. Love out to Rachel. In gratitude. Let's love our bodies. Let's feast on our bodies and our own particular lovelinesses, whatever those are. This is a poem by Dorian Laux, Laux, Fast Gas. Before the days of self-service, when you never had to pump your own gas, I was the one who did it for you, the girl who stepped out at the sound of a bell with a blue rag in my hand, my hair pulled back in a straight, unlovely ponytail. This was before automatic shutoffs and vapor seals, and once, while filling a tank, I hit a bubble of trapped air, and the gas backed up, came arcing out of the hole in a bright gold wave and soaked me, face, breasts, belly, and legs. And I had to hurry back to the booth, the small employee bathroom with the broken lock, to change my uniform, peel the gas-soaked cloth from my skin, and wash myself in the sink. Lightheaded, scrubbed raw, I felt pure and amazed. The way the amber gas glazed my flesh, the searing subterranean pain of it, how my skin shimmered and ached, glowed like rainbowed oil on the pavement. I was 20. In a few weeks I would fall for the first time in love, that man waiting patiently in my future like a red leaf on the sidewalk, the kind of beauty that asks to be noticed. How was I to know it would begin this way? Every cell of my body burning with a dangerous beauty, the air around me a nimbus of light that would carry me through the days. How when he found me weeks later, he would find me like that, an ordinary woman who could rise in flame. All he would have to do is come close and touch me. Wonderful. Fast gas. Dorian Laux, thank you for that. Thank you very much. Yes, let's celebrate our bodies, whatever ones we live in, whatever ones we wear in the world. This is the Uruguayan writer Eduardo Galeano. Window on the body. The church says the body is a sin. Science says the body is a machine. Advertising says the body is a business. The body says, I am a fiesta. It is indeed. And let's feast on our beings, not just our bodies, but our whole beings. This happened in South Orange, New Jersey, November 2017. This poem, The Daily Bread. The greatest gift I can give you is the daily bread of this body, the daily fruit of this heart, the daily wine of this mind, the daily spice of this voice, and the daily water of this ever-arising spirit. Think of that when I offer myself into the day and whoever I meet, whoever I know or talk with or sitting with, bringing the daily bread of my being to them like a feast. Well, Jane Kenyon, I'm thinking of feasting on our joys, on our happinesses, the ones we make and the ones that find us. Jane Kenyon's poem, Happiness. There's just no accounting for happiness, or the way it turns up like a prodigal who comes back to the dust at your feet, having squandered a fortune far away. And how can you not forgive? You make a feast in honor of what was lost, and take from its place the finest garment, which you saved for an occasion you could not imagine, and you weep night and day to know that you were not abandoned, that happiness saved its most extreme form for you alone. No, happiness is the uncle you never knew about, who flies a single-engine plane onto the grassy landing strip, hitchhikes into town, and inquires at every door until he finds you asleep mid-afternoon, as you so often are during the unmerciful hours of your despair. It comes to the monk in his cell. It comes to the woman sweeping the street with a birch broom, to the child whose mother has passed out from drink. It comes to the lover, to the dog chewing a sock, to the pusher, to the basket maker, and to the clerk stacking cans of carrots in the night. It even comes to the boulder in the perpetual shade of pine barrens, to rain falling on the open sea, to the wineglass, weary of holding wine. Thank you, Jane Kenyon. Happiness. Maybe we ought to feast as often as possible on all our moments of bliss, of delightedness, of dreaminess, of deeper presence also, where all those things often happen. This was at the Michelangelo's Mouth Poetry on the Plate dinner that I curated and hosted in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, back in May of 2018. This is something, an experience I had in such a moment with one of the guests that was there, Scotswoman, Iona MacLeod. And this poem is named Up in the MacLeods, spelled after her name, which sounds, of course, like clouds. Up in the MacLeods is where I met her, when she and her sky-wide spirit and bare, bray shoulders floated into the evening, where there was such feasting, much laughter, streams of music and stories, even dancing, hand to eye to heart, where everything, my body, the scenery, suddenly felt so much lighter than air. I feel lighter even sharing that with you right now. I feel a bit floaty. I am the floating poet after all. That's not an unusual condition for me to be in. But my feet are on the ground. Yes. Joseph Stroud, from his collection Out of This World, Feral. Let's go here to this moment. Feral. The Plaza of the Gypsies. Under the ruined castle. A spring pouring into a stone basin where burros and horses drink. Since before the time of Cervantes. A taverna. Fierce sunlight at noon. The plaza empty. Absolute stillness. Even the cicadas stunned by the heat. A plate of olives, goat cheese, cucumber. Cobblestones. Whitewashed walls. A day like marble. Solstice. Crushed rosemary. Holding on with everything I have. Wheat fields the color of fawn. Bread, black figs. Gripping hard with mind and heart, clenching, holding on to what's human. This moment. This place where I make my strict joy. Thank you, Joseph Stroud. Feral. This was a poem, as I think about us, encouraging us to feast on the beauty of the world around us, wherever that beauty is, near or far. And this was a poem from Rome, from Italy, Italia. Senti a Roma. Listen to Rome. And I should tell you that the verb sentire, which is why this matters actually, doesn't just mean listen. It means listen, feel. So, senti a Roma. Listen to Rome. Today, a saxophone blows rouge over the cobblestones. Hear the faded yellows of accordion, guitar, and hand-tinted songs spool across the piazza. There, bells peal gold and umber onto the rooftops. Later, fluted silver tones blend with dancing green fountain song. Acqua verde con verdi, until sapphire falls quiet from the night sky. Senti a Roma. Tonight, a small brass tingle of stars. Let us feast, dear listeners, on our possibilities. Yes, our greater possibilities, which always exist. This is David White's poem from his collection River Flow. Mameen, M-A-M-E-E-N, Mameen. Be infinitesimal under that sky, a creature even the sailing hawk misses, a wraith among the rocks where the mist parts slowly. Recall the way mere mortals are overwhelmed by circumstance, how great reputations dissolve with infirmity, and how you in particular live a hair's breadth from losing everyone you hold dear. Then look back down the path as if seeing your past, and then south over the hazy blue coast as if present to a wide future. Remember the way you are all possibilities you can see, and how you live best as an appreciator of horizons, whether you reach them or not. Admit that once you have got up from your chair and opened the door, Once you have walked out into the clean air toward that edge and taken the path up high beyond the ordinary, you have become the privileged and the pilgrim, the one who will tell the story, and the one coming back from the mountain who helped to make it. Thank you, David White. Let us always be grateful, friends, truly thankful, quietly or exuberantly, for all things great or small. Yes. Well, this is from my evolving book of thank yous, the book of thank yous, for the milk. Frothed and poured into my morning coffee, and the milkman who delivered it, bottled and cold to the grocery store, and the one who placed it on the shelf, and the other who checked it out, with a smile, for the dairy farmer who raised and milked the soft and white and brindled cows, the cows that gave it to the farmer's pail, the pastures of grass and clover that fed the cows, and the barn that sheltered them, for the rain and sun that helped the pastures grow and green, the clouds that gave the rain, and the sky that held them up, and the earth that gave the fertile soil for the dream and streams of milk to even begin. Thank you. One more David White as we come into our last musings and sharings and our thankings for this day and this week and our lives and everything good going on. And I love this poem because I felt, the whole theme is to me vital for any time, but especially the times we're in. But this poem also is to remind us of something rather important. If we could carry this inside us as I do, I think the world would, around us and beyond, would be a far more peaceful place and more place of unity and community. So this is Loaves and Fishes. This is not the age of information. This is not the age of information. Forget the news and the radio and the blurred screen. This is the time of loaves and fishes. People are hungry, and one good word is bread for 1,000. Thank you, David White. How true that is. How true. Peace of mind on the fall equinox. This is from from Weekapaug, actually, nearby. September 2020. Also a celebration of the abundance and beauty and feast of fall, of nature. The fall is not a falling or befalling, but an arriving of a different season of lightfulness, of fruitfulness, as abundant as the preceding, now gracefully, still greenly receding summer. If cooler, if drier, is another calling to our senses, sense memories, to another feast of nature's further best. And this day of equinox, day of equal light and dark, shared long and short, from Hagar Quim to Yantar Mantar, Stonehenge, this time of Madbon, Mean Fomer, Shubon no Hi, harvest moons, mooncakes and lanterns, brightly beheld auroras to the north, asters and mums to the south. A day to feel a great balance, needed balance, shed heaviness of body, uneasiness of heart, find reverence for the sun, the stars, all life on earth, frisk into the air, color and root flavors of autumn, and prepare for the deep, downy quieting of the coming winter. Delmore Schwartz, in the green morning now once more. In the green morning, before love was destiny, the sun was king and God was famous. The merry, the musical, the jolly, the magical, the feast of feasts, the festival suddenly ended as the sky descended. But there was only the feeling, in all the dark falling, of fragrance and of freshness, of birth and beginning. Thank you, Telmore Schwartz. Beautiful. I had not read that before. I was happy to read it to you now. Kenneth Rexroth, lute music. The earth will be going on a long time before it finally freezes. Men will be on it. They will take names, give their deeds reasons. We will be here only as chemical constituents, a small franchise indeed. Right now we have lives, corpuscles, ambitions, caresses, like everybody had once. Here at the year's end, at the feast of birth, let us bring to each other the gifts brought once west through deserts, the precious metal of our mingled hair, the frankincense of enraptured arms and legs, the myrrh of desperate, invincible kisses. Let us celebrate the daily recurrent nativity of love, the endless epiphany of our fluent selves, while the earth rolls away under us into unknown snows and summers, into untraveled spaces of the stars. Thank you, Kenneth Rexroth. One more, Eduardo Galeano, The Fiesta. The sun was gentle, the air clear, and the sky cloudless. Buried in the sand, the clay pots steamed. As they went from ocean to mouth, the shrimp passed through the hands of Fernando, master of ceremonies, who bathed them in a holy water of salt, onions, and garlic. There was good wine. Seated in a circle, we friends shared the wine and shrimp in the ocean that spread out free and luminous at our feet. As it took place, that happiness was already being remembered by our memory. It would never end, nor would we, for we are all mortal until the first kiss and the second glass, which is something everyone knows, no matter how small his or her knowledge. Gracias, Eduardo Galeano. Muchas gracias. The Fiesta. Next to last, from 2019, January 1st, first day of that year, let's make hay while the sun shines. Make song while our voices shine. Make love while our bodies shine. Make feasts while our appetites shine. Make each day bright with heart, come rain or shine. And last for now, till we're together again here over these airwaves, these thought and feeling waves. This is a poem from a different Poetry on the Plate dinner that I put together. It was called Making Our Hemingway. Williamsburg, Brooklyn, October 2019, dedicated to Ernest Hemingway and us. Your sun also rises. It rises. Each day you open your eyes. Each day you open your heart. Every time you enter the great and small moments of your world with a sense of wonder, a taste for adventure. The way Hemingway made his way, boldly, earnestly, one of a kindly through the wilds of his. Its peaks and valleys, streams and plains, well-weathered woods. It's sometimes dark and starless, sometimes star and moon bright nights. Every place, around a table, a crackling or embering fire, a circle of friends, or simply alone with your thoughts, your own words, silent and still anywhere. And you feel the bounty of the earth, you breathe in its beauty and feast on your life. It rises. Thank you again, friends, for leaning in, thinking and feeling in, for joining my ever-growing listening circle. What good fortune to have you. Thanks also if and when you share this or other show links with friends or point them this way. Word of mouth is golden. I invite your comments from listening, and likewise any contributions you might make to give thanks or add support for these free weekly programs I create to engage and illuminate you. And any theme you'd like to see a future broadcast on, email me, colin@thepoetosphere.com. And what about your experience of this show on Feast on Your Life? And for those who are making a donation, thank you so much. You can do so by Venmo to Fivefold, Fivefold, at pipeline.com, or by PayPal to that same email. Or you can simply mail a check to me to P.O. Box 1032, Westerly, Rhode Island, 02891. Or donate through my site, thepoetorialist.com, by way of the Donate tab there. Yes, at times, patrons can privately host or sponsor me as a working poet in residence in the U.S. or beyond, where I create a new flight of poetic art and dedicate it to them. Email me to explore that if it interests you. Meanwhile, you can hear all the broadcasts online on YouTube and elsewhere, but they are especially on the Floating Poetry playlist. And you can also explore, as some know, as a visitor or subscriber by the month or more, the oasis of aliveness I'm guiding, the poetosphere.com, a source of enlivening, inspiring, and encouraging micro-experiences, conversations, contemplations, and interactions. It's a community of kindred spirits, of possibilitarians. Meanwhile, I hope you'll lean in here soon again. Until then, dear listeners, may you give thanks daily and deeply, openly and gladly, for all you have, all you're given, are graced with, and all you can grace with a good heart, a good word, a good deed. I'm truly grateful to have you as a listener right now, and to those listeners here always, and others often, all those who care about the life themes that I speak to. I'm also thankful I can keep bringing these broadcasts to you, and to the eager to be stirred wider world. Goodbye for now, and good spirits, yes, very good spirits.